Hello, everybody. Zach here with the Goat Guys. Welcome to Beast Beats viewer request video for finishing second place in the last Goat Guys Grand Prix. This is Goat format then versus now, and I hope you guys do enjoy the video. So the first deck we're going to take a look at is Goat Control. Goat Control is the de facto name of the original name of the format. This was considered the best deck, no questions asked. This is the first place list from SJC New Jersey. I did not get the person's name, unfortunately, but this person does play a very interesting list featuring Air Knight Parshath, the BLS Breaker, Jinzo DD Warrior Lady. Interestingly, 3 Magician of Faith, and then playing Night Assailant, which isn't something you nowadays see in a Goat deck. Also interesting enough, we see Slate Warrior. Slate Warrior is a very fun card, but unfortunately it's not great. But it did see play. Also, you can just tell by the spell lineup, the decks are just built very differently. Cards like Lightning Vortex, though, that do see some niche play nowadays, were considered very powerful then. Same with cards like Swords of Revealing Light, and then we even see a Magic Cylinder in this main deck. Though I do think this list is fine, I do feel like Goat is much different now. So now we're going to take a look at a modern day list. So now we take a look at a modern Goat Control deck. Though not the most optimal Goat Control list and not the one that I profiled last month on the channel, this is what a standard Goat Control list you can expect to see would look like now. You have the 2 Parshath, a BLS, Azure Priest, a Blade Knight. Blade Knight's now a staple, which didn't see much play at all back in the day. This deck features Dekoichi, Merchant, and Faith instead of just Faith and Night Assailant. This deck is also main decking Book of Moons, which has become a very popular card in the Goat Control deck. We also have the 2 copies of Nobleman Crossout, as well as multiple Sakuretsu armors instead of like the Magic Cylinder. The Fusion deck remains relatively untouched, as there was no Fusion deck limit at the time, like we know now. My side deck features like a small Warrior Engine, a couple of different tributes, Book of Moon, Rhoda, the Dust Shoots, another Kaiku, the 3rd Goat, Nico Mane King for Empty Jar, and then Des Wombat for Burn. So yeah, that is the modern day equivalent of what Goat Control would look like. Up next, we're going to take a look at Chaos Control, and we'll have that list up in just a moment. Alright, now let's take a look at Chaos Control. Though I forgot to put it, this is a top 4 list from SJC New Jersey as well. Very standard list. Looks honestly semi-similar to what a modern-day equivalent would look like, with just a few slight differences. Again, we see the 3 Shining Angel, which is commonly cut for a card like Thunder Dragon. We see the triple Book of Moon, which is still a very popular choice now. We see the 3 meta and 2 Scapegoat ratio. We see the double knock. We see a relatively standard trap lineup, though, with the Thunder Dragon build. A lot of decks do incorporate Raigeki Break in them, as well as we see a Skilled Dark Magician, which doesn't necessarily see a ton of play now. So the next modern list we're going to take a look at, we're going to look at Dale Bolito's second place list from Worlds of last year, of 2020, the year that we don't want to talk about. So let's take a look there. All right, so here is Dale Bolito's second place list from Worlds of last year. This is his Chaos Control list that I actually very much like. I've played it here and there. So quick breakdown of some differences. Obviously, we have the same Chaos ratio, but we see Dark Mimic and Dekoichi to increase your consistency. A lot of the modern day builds tend to play Dark Mimic and Dekoichi because drawing cards is just so good, and being able to reflip them with your Tsukiyomi makes them very powerful. We obviously have the 2 Magician of Faiths, Azure Priest. The big difference is we see the Thunder Dragons over the Shining Angels, which also incorporates the 1 main decked copy of Raigeki Break. Raigeki Break is fantastic because it lets you pitch your dead Thunder Dragons or Sinister Serpent. Sinister Serpent is such a good card. We have the standard extra deck lineup of all the good monsters. This is such an interesting list, honestly. Dale did a fantastic job coming up with this. So yeah, that is what a modern day Chaos Control deck would look like. So the final deck we'll take a look at is the Warrior decks. Warrior decks have evolved so much since 2005. So we'll be taking a look at the list that did well at SJC Seattle. So we'll be right back, and we'll see you then. Hello, everyone. So we're going to take a look at this list now. This is the top 4 warrior deck from Shonen Jump Seattle. So this is a very interesting list. So let's talk about the things that are different than a modern list. So beginning, we have an Air Knight Parshath. Air Knight Parshath was seen as much better than it is in the modern game, though I do feel Parshath is very solid, except against like the Chaos Turbo decks of today that play like Gravekeeper Spy. So we also see Big Shield Gardener. Big Shield Gardener is a fun card that we even made a toolbox episode about a couple weeks back. The card can be used in very defensive ways and offensive ways. It's a knock negate, and it can punish your opponent because in this deck there is a copy of Robin Goblin. Other things of interesting note, we have DD Survivor, a good card against Chaos decks. We also have Morphing Jar. Morphing Jar is a card that I wouldn't say has like lost popularity, but just isn't as popular as it would be. It's still a fantastic card, mainly in empty jar decks or Chaos flip decks. We also see interesting cards like My Body is a Shield and Lightning Vortex. Like I said, those two cards are still good now. They just are not as popular. And then we see 2 Smashing Ground in the main deck, which is very cool. Smashing Ground is a great spot removal card that I still play in some decks today. And then onto the trap lineup. It's very standard, except we see Mirror Wall. Mirror Wall is an interesting card that will combo well with your Robin Goblin, which is, I think, why this list played it. Unfortunately, I couldn't find many reasonings for this deck. I did a lot of digging trying to find like an interview with the player. I couldn't even find the player's name, guys. So yeah, that is what a old warrior list would look like. And to wrap up this video, we're going to take a look at a modern warrior list. All right, so the final list we're going to take a look at is this warrior chaos list. Chaos has now been far more implemented into the warrior decks lately because the Chaos engine is just so powerful. So we look at cards like the BLS and multiple Chaos Sork as compared to the old deck to play cards like Big Shield Gardener and Air Knight Parshath. We also have multiple Blade Knights now. Blade Knight is just a very versatile card. We also see new additions like Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. Sasuke is just good because it can destroy any defense position monster if it battles during damage step. We also see multiple copies of Don Zalug now. Don Zalug is left for hand control, which is very good. We also see multiple Kaikos for like the Chaos matchup. We also see Mataza the Zapper, though this is my own personal tech. We have it's a very standard spell lineup of the modern day, but notice we have 3 Solemn Judgment and 2 Trap Dust Shoot. So why this is so different is Dust Shoot didn't really actually get popularized until 2006. And then early 07 when the Elemental Hero Stratos came out, which, if you follow my retro channel, we talked about Airblade Turbo. Anyway, shameless plug. It's shameless. But yeah, this card's very good. Like, Trap Dust Shoot on its own is just like a modern strategy. Like, same as like Zoo Beatdown. That deck was not really known. I know Zoo Beatdown is nowhere near as good as it once was. But yeah, so we have the 2 Sakus, which are listed in play, and then your standard Trap going up. And that is it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy Beast Beats. I hope I did you justice. Code format is so much different than it was in 2005, and it is so much fun to play. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.